Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Evan Mederos. Farmers markets are becoming an alternative source of healthy food and produce as part of an ever-growing farm-to-table and local food movement. With vendors being able to interact directly with customers, the lines for these fresh foods keep on growing. According to FarmersMarketCoalition.org, the number of farmers markets has nearly quadrupled since 1996, going from about 2,500 to more than 8,000 in 2013. CSUN has one of the first farmers markets on a college campus. It has become so popular that Associated Students has extended the funding for another year. Everyone involved, from consumers to vendors, has really embraced the farm-to-table food phenomena.
I actually like it here. The reason for that is they actually give you a chance to taste the product before you buy it, so you can see how sweet it is and how good and how fresh it is. So I like it here much better because of the freshness of it.
Supermarket.
Fresh food, you know what you're getting. You're getting no GMO foods, no Monsanto, which is good, no cancer products and things like that. So that's probably the best thing. You get what you pay for. You may pay a little bit more than you would at the grocery store, but the product, it's what we say. Everything you see on our signs, everything we grow, we sell. So yeah.
People are really interested in getting to know where their veggies are coming from, if they're organic or sustainable. And also at the beginning of the year, there's also kind of a trend of veggies picking up because people are juicing more frequently at the beginning of the year, new year, new me.
Farmers markets are very prevalent in college and higher income areas. However, in lower income areas, which tend to be food deserts, they're few and far between. A big concern for many is how to bring more grocery stores, more farmers markets, more healthy food choices in general to everyone. On Point's AJ Romero has more.
Thank you, Evan. I'd like to welcome my guests today. I have Robert Egger, the president of LA Kitchen, Ellen Bauersfeld, registered dietitian at the CSUN Klotz Student Health Center, and Marvin Halaby, owner of Upper Loveland Farms. Thank you for joining us today, guys.
My pleasure.
So we see farmers markets are becoming an important public face for agriculture and essentially a critical part of our nation's food system. Do you guys agree with this statement? Why or why not? I'd like to start with you.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, there's kind of an emerging food economy, where we've kind of transitioned from a manufacturing economy. And while we're trying to find our footing, food is really out front on this. So whether it's from a consumer base or a production base, it's a very exciting time to be in our business.
Definitely. And Ellen?
Well, when I look at it, I see this wonderful opportunity for more people to have access to an increased variety of fruits and vegetables. And people that have not really been that exposed to different varieties or just the abundance of them, when they go to farmers markets, it just opens up a whole new world for them. And there's a lot of excitement right now at the consumer level when I see certain patients.
And Marvin?
Yeah, absolutely. It lets people come out and meet the farmers. The quality fruits there is better than what supermarkets carry right now. It creates more jobs for farmers to go out and actually sit there and pitch their stuff and talk to people, and kind of like just be more, open to everybody about their product and stuff like that. So it's definitely good.
And we're actually seeing corporations like Chipotle and Panera Bread, Chick-fil-A, and Sharky's, they're all taking a leap towards using more organic and all-natural ingredients. And now, Marvin, how is this affecting your business?
Well, it helps us out more. Before, a lot of people weren't paying attention to organic. A lot of people would just go to the store, purchase whatever they purchase and eat it, not really knowing about it, about GMO and all that stuff and what's in the food. So now it's even better because a lot of people are turning towards that organic stage where it's more healthier for you. And with more corporate companies, food companies going forward, it's a lot better because, you go to McDonald's, their food's a little, different than, they don't use organic, obviously. So, but with Chipotle, a lot of people, it's good food, people go for it. And now that they're changing towards to be more organic, it's a lot more, it invites people more to come in and eat actual fast food and stuff like that. So it's actually a good thing. And a lot of people need to be doing it, absolutely.
Ellen, as a nutritionist, do you think you'll be able to suggest places like Chipotle and Chick-fil-A for your clients if they want to look for healthier and cleaner eating?
Yeah, I think so. Everything's on a continuum. So with my patients, and primarily my patients are CSUN students, Some students are coming in and eating 3 meals a day at fast food restaurants. So for those types of patients, moving them in a better direction and having to pick one restaurant over another, there's a great influence in which ones I might point them in that way. But then on the other hand, too, one of the goals that we're always trying to do is to get students and patients to maybe prepare a few more meals at home and try to go to places like farmers markets and stores and buy things fresh. But absolutely, the more choices out there from a restaurant point of view, the better it is for our students and patients.
Consumers are now looking at labels more than ever, and it's part of this movement for healthier eating and healthier communities. Can you talk us through what it means for food to be natural and for food to be organic?
Me?
Yes,
okay.
please.
So, the word natural doesn't really have a specific definition. So that word is used often, frequently on the fronts of packaging and labeling, but there really is no defined meaning. So it's a great marketing tool, but it doesn't really have anything to back it up. If something is organic, in theory, there have been no synthetic pesticides, fertilizers used in the whole process of that food from the farm to the table. So for people that are trying to reduce their pesticide intake, that's the way that they would want to go. And then within organic, there's organic and then there's certified organic. So if people are interested in trying to make sure that they really are eating organic, there's a certified organic that I would probably recommend. So again, everything's on a continuum, and I would rather have somebody just start to eat more fruits and vegetables and maybe not worry so much about it if they're eating fast food all the time. But if money were no object and we could really help people to plan out healthy meals, then probably looking for organic would be a great way to go.
Ellen, I'd like for you to explain to us and our viewers what genetically modified foods are, and can you provide some examples of them, please?
So a genetically modified food is a food that has genetic material that has been incorporated into the food that comes from another completely different species. So it's 2 different kinds of genetic material that end up in that one food. And it's used for a lot of different reasons. The GMOs really started just so that people could have bigger crop yields. The reason that they genetically modify foods often is just to have less worry about insect infestation, trying to make plants more resistant so that herbicides can be used on them, and things like drought tolerance. So they artificially manipulate these foods with different genetic material to make them more resistant. So examples, well, there's a lot of GMO food in our food supply today. Probably about 75 to 80% of the food that we eat is GMO. And the big ones that we'll see in this country that are GMO would be corn. Soy is very big, canola, cotton, sugar beets are pretty big in terms of GMO, papaya, zucchini. So these foods, there's a good chance if you eat them in any form that they are going to be GMO. And again, the reason they do this is to increase often the crop yields.
Robert, since we're talking about genetically modified foods, does LA Kitchen accept these types of foods, or is it simply organic foods that you guys seek?
Actually, local is what I'm after. I think that's kind of the unspoken here is for a lot of consumers, local is what they're looking for, and this ties into supporting the local economy, supporting local farmers. There's I think an interesting hook there. Now, of course, we have certain do's and don'ts, but I think one of the underlying ideas of GMOs, and one of the things I'm very involved with, is how do you feed a whole lot of people? Whether it's the potential billions of people who are going to be born in the next 50 years, or whether it's older people. That's a lot of why I'm building LA Kitchen. I'm very interested in how we get there. So, what we're doing is saying, look, half of the food that's thrown away in America every day, and we throw away about 40% of the food we produce. Half of that is fruits and vegetables that are primarily dished under because they're too expensive to bring to market. They're bruised, blemished, broken, bent. And I'm just saying, in effect, look, I'll come out and buy it. And I'll bring it back to our central kitchen where we have a job training program, We'll teach people to cook, and then we'll basically do contracts with the city or the county for senior meals. I'm very interested in what does the future of senior meals look like. But the same idea of doing it in a way that supports local farmers, gives people good work, and starts to explore a healthier, more affordable, and frankly ethnically diverse series of options for seniors. So there's a lot of things that concern me, but I have an underlying and a great imperative: people's health and feeding a whole lot of poor people a decent meal every day.
Are there any other organizations like LA Kitchen out there?
Well, I've helped about City 60s do something like this, and there's plenty of Meals on Wheels. I mean, there's been, you know, through the long arc of charitable efforts, there's been dozens and dozens of groups in every community. But I think one of the things that I tend to be a little bit of a futurist, what's coming around the bend, and Los Angeles and Los Angeles County are home to one of the largest concentrations of older people in America, and ergo you have some of the largest numbers of people living in poverty. And the number is going to double from 1.25 to 2.5 million people over 65 in LA County over the next 10 years. So I'm just anticipating a very significant, almost an inability for traditional charity to meet that need. So by building something rather substantial, because we're really trading in tractor trailer loads versus small pickups and that kind of stuff. But that's the glory of coming to Los Angeles. I mean, by sitting here, you're at the bottom of the Central Valley and Ventura, where you have access to millions of pounds of the most beautiful food ever produced.
And Ellen, how do you advise your clients when it comes to finding affordable and healthier foods? Are these farmers markets something you suggest?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that question of how do I advise my students, wow, that's a big one, because it really starts from, it doesn't just start from looking for inexpensive food. It really starts at the level of trying not to waste food.
Right.
And I do so much teaching on how to use time management skills and how to use the pre-planning skills and how to make the commitment to eat what you buy, because so much of affordability comes to not throwing it away. And it's true, the statistics you cite, I see them played out with our students. I have them come to see, you know, I had good intentions, I went and I bought my fruits and vegetables, and I was a little tired at the end of the day, and I was running late, so I just drove through the fast food, and at the end of the week, they throw it out.
Right.
So I do a lot of training on just the idea of time management and giving them easy ideas on how to actually use the produce that they buy. And the farmers market here on campus has been so successful with the students that I've talked to. They are running over there every Tuesday. And I can tell you that almost all the students I see, I would say about 90% of them have used the farmers market this past semester. It's been fantastic. So really being able to try to help the students to figure out how to do time management better and how to buy what they're going to use and to actually eat what they're buying.
You know, two things really quick. I mean, that's a big part of what I do is value add. It's saying, give me carrots, I'll make carrot sticks. So it's an easier product for a working mom to use if it's already cut up. But the other flip side that we talked about earlier is it's exciting because the Affordable Care Act is going to put a premium on preventative care. So more and more and more doctors are going to be talking to their pediatricians, will be talking, regular doctors and geriatric doctors will all be talking to their patients and ultimately down the road prescribing fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're talking about costs and everything, do you guys believe cost keeps people away from shopping at farmers markets? I've recently learned that many of these are actually accepting EBT now. And do you feel like this is something people are aware of, that they are now accepting EBT at some farmers markets?
Yeah, I'm sure you see it here all the time.
Absolutely. They make it easier for people to come out and use their EBT card and able to buy good fruits and vegetables for their families. I've seen it in all the markets, actually. I haven't seen anybody that hasn't done it. And a lot of the vendors now, they do it themselves. You know, they have a merchant's account, they accept EBTs, and they do it on their own. So, absolutely.
And we're experimenting with this new idea, which is saying, in effect, you know, farmers markets are great, but it's a weekend thing. You know, so why not, if I can buy a little table and have inventory that might also include shelf-stable product that we make, and I can hook somebody up and say, look, here's your business, here's your inventory, here's a bank, you can keep 75 cents of whatever you sell, you know, and basically go into communities where you can actually establish little micro businesses where you have a highly motivated salesperson selling product because they're getting the money. So to me, this is the joy of food and the power of food. It's not just fuel for the body, it's a powerful economic engine.
And there have been some studies that are coming out suggesting that lower income families, they don't necessarily want to change the way they're eating. Ellen, I'd like to start with you. Why do you feel that is?
Well, I wouldn't say it's just low-income families. I would say that
Right on.
as a population at whole, most people don't want to change their habits. We grew up the way that we grow up, and in our current food culture, we have a lot of salt, fat, and sugar in our food. And when you grow up that way, it doesn't matter if you're from low income or high income, when you're exposed at a young age to this very intense flavors of the salt, the fat, and the sugar, it breeds in your brain. It changes your brain chemistry so that you really do start to crave it more. So you get to an age of college student life where all of a sudden now you're trying to make some changes. But if your brain is sort of hardwired to be craving those things every day, it's hard for all of us to do that. So you start slow, you make a few changes, and the more that you can incorporate these fresh, natural foods, the more often that you put that, in your palate, you can over time develop a taste for it, but it takes work, it takes commitment. So I think we see that at all different levels, and that's the beauty of these farmers markets, is that students are tasting things they have never tasted before. I was there today at the farmers market. There are 5 different kinds of apricots. Yeah. And they're able to taste them because the farmers are so great at giving samples, which is one of the
samples rock, man. I do that all the time.
It's great. Students are trying these things and leaving thinking, gosh, this is actually sweet. I could eat these instead of Skittles. So it's very exciting, and I think that at any income level, frequent exposure dictates what you like. And we know that oftentimes it takes 8 to 10 tries of a fruit or a vegetable to really develop that flavor where you like it. And that starts right out in toddlerhood all the way up through elder years. So I don't think it's ever too late. And
Got to teach them young.
Absolutely. and the exposure. That's why the farmers markets are great. I think it's only going to encourage people at any education and population.
But Ellen brought it up, but man, salt and sugar's crack. I mean, do we act like, you can just quit? We've been literally addicted. 8 companies have put out specifically, they've been working salt for the longest time. Dorito chips, dude, I defy you to put those Dorito chips away at 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. Man, that's by design. So there is an addictive quality.
There is.
We kind of act like it's a personal choice thing. It's harder than hard. These are like cigarettes.
Yep,
and we've been raised to eat this way. So unlearning. This is why I think some of the work in school food is so powerful, because more and more now you're starting to see young men and women coming onto campus with a greater palate and a greater expectation of what they want to eat.
And I also think that education in this area is really important. Students like to find out that, in a way they are being tricked. Students like to find out, it's important for them to find out that, guess what, this isn't all about me having willpower. Willpower doesn't work in the area of healthy eating. You really got to be able to manipulate the environment enough to expose people to these foods so that they'll be more likely to eat them over and over again.
Don't occupy the street, occupy your refrigerator.
There you go.
Medicine's food,
Yeah, and we know that when you eat
That's what it is.
the sugar in particular, that it does increase the dopamine level in your brain, which is a very powerful neurotransmitter, and that fires in that reward pleasure center just like cocaine does. The more you eat it, the more you want it. And when you don't have it, you're thinking about it, because that's what the drug does.
Yeah, you got to get yourself used to eating healthy and just staying on it. There's lots of vegans that are doing it right now. I see it. I deliver to hundreds of vegan restaurants, and it's dedication. There's vegetarians, but vegans, they don't eat anything that's living. It's either a veggie, tofu, stuff like that. So I've tried it. I've even went on cleanses and stuff like that, and it's hard. It is very hard, but you got to stay dedicated. And after some time, you get used to it. So that's what it's all about. In the farmers market, you get people used to eating good food, and more of those pop up, more people get addicted to it, and that's what it's all about. So.
But what's also exciting, man, is mayor's races now. The mayor's race here in Los Angeles, the LA Food Policy Council asked mayoral candidates about their food policy ideas. So I think what you're seeing, and I believe is a powerful opportunity, a younger generation who have very definitive interest in food and local. My generation, the baby boomers, there's 70 million of us. I think there's very interesting shared political ideas around food. And I think this is one of those magic moments where both generations can find common ground over the idea of what we eat.
All right, guys. Moving forward, I want to go into the process of starting a farmer's market. And Marvin, let's say I wanted to start my own, not necessarily a farmer's market, but let's say I wanted to start selling. Sure. What steps do I take? Can you walk me through this?
As being actual farmer?
Yes,
and you want to
very
sell in the farmers market, you basically would need to be a certified grower, and you would go to your local ag department from what county you're from, and you'd basically ask them to get you a CPC license, which is a certified producer certificate. And you'd go, and they'd come in, they'd investigate and kind of look over all your farmland, see what you have. They put it down on a piece of paper, and then they allow you to sell in different counties, LA County, Orange County, all these different counties. And basically they'll list it. So if you go out there and you're selling in a farmer's market, when the ag department comes to check, that they know that your ag department in your county where you're growing from has checked thoroughly, made sure you got all the right stuff on your farm that's on your paperwork. And that's basically that. You just link up with farmers markets managers and you get in them and you bring your stuff, and then, you know, you pay a fee for whatever the farmers market is, and that's basically pretty much what it is. So just the legal process of it is you need to go through the agriculture department, make sure they get, you know, all the fine print taken care of and everything's ready to go, but it's pretty easy. You just got to be a certified grower. I think some places require insurances now, so in case somebody falls in front of your stand and so forth, but it's pretty much easy, and that's pretty much it. It's not really hard.
Are you required to label all your products based on regulations from the FDA?
Absolutely. If you have anything that's jarred or canned, anything like that, you would have to have like a nutrition facts to it, the farm name, address, all that good stuff. That's pretty much it. Most of the farmers that carry, you know, there's honey, so they have their labels on honeys and olives and olive oils and stuff like that. But anything that's sold fresh, you know, if it's organic or anything like that, most of them will label it or have basically like a CCOF paperwork or USDA paperwork, stuff like that. So it all has to be posted on your stand. So.
Gotcha. How long have you been selling at farmers markets?
We've been doing farmers market for about 15 years. 15 years. I've been doing it since I was a kid, so yeah, I kind of grew into it.
So when we're seeing these farmers markets just gain immense popularity, I'm curious, what makes a vendor like yourself stand out from your competition?
It's different products, different kind of veggies, exotic veggies, stuff that people don't have. And even if they do have it, it's the pricing. A lot of people take advantage of the pricing. And you got to be more for the people. So, you know, almonds go for like $10 a pound. If you're out there selling them for $6, the word of mouth goes everywhere and everybody starts coming in. So you got to be for the people. You got to be able to make sure that you're taking care of your customers. They come back to you, build a relationship. That's what it's all about, you know, keeping them happy. And at the same time, your product moves, you're able to regrow and just keep the circle going. So
I can speak on your behalf that I go to the farmers market here every Tuesday, and I didn't know it until now, but I'm drawn to your stand.
Yeah,
and
oh,
I have been, because they're very welcoming, and there are usually just a tiny bit less expensive than the competition. The samples are great, but I think really your staff is very encouraging. They're educational. They're bringing you in. They're telling you about it. They're asking you to try things. And I can really see the difference, and that really is the pricing. But I think mostly it's your staff.
The thing is with the staff, it's all family ran.
Great.
So we all grew up on the farm. We all, you know, we know what we're growing and stuff like that. So we try to educate a lot of our actual customers and keep them educated on it so they could pass it on to their youngins and so forth. So that's what it's all about. You know?
And I see it happening firsthand. I really do. It's fantastic to watch the students come over.
Glad to enjoy that.
Well, you know, if I may just jump in real quick, there's a deeper hunger.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think what you're seeing also is that I've always believed that the farmers market movement and the food thing is more about people looking to tribe up again. They're looking to belong.
Absolutely.
So there's
Connection.
a great sense of what you're looking at is a return to the agriculture. You know, we talk about agriculture, but there was a culture that was wrapped up in this that we left after World War II, where I might add an army for the first time in the history of the world came home and didn't go back to the farm. And their grandchildren are trying to turn the ship around and find their way back. It's a really amazing time.
And now, do you think this is a trend that's going to stick around for a while? Do you guys see, 10 years from now, where do you see farmers markets? And I'd like to start with you, Robert.
Well, you know, I think what's interesting is farmers markets are the first big wave of this kind of new food things. Health departments are struggling to keep up with the innovation because, you know, whether it's a pop-up restaurants, whether it's food trucks, whether it's the raw milk brigade, whether it's people who want to butcher at home. And there's a whole bunch of yard chickens. I mean, you see constant evolution. that it's driven a lot by the economy. I think people want to find a cheap way to get affordable food, whether that means grow it themselves or whether it means making it and selling it. So it's just the beginning. It's an exciting time, but at the same time, I think our local health departments have to try and keep up with the innovation and realize there's great economic opportunity if they kind of loosen it up a little bit and let innovation thrive.
Ellen?
I agree. I don't think it's a fad. I do think it's a trend, and I think the same thing. It's just the beginning of the local food movement, and I do see that this population, our student population, is craving something different. They are looking for something besides fast food. They are looking for more than just a drive-through, and I really feel that this is going to be a trend.
Yeah, and you know, that's why I'm here in LA too, because you can see an army of older people. Southern California will lead, I think, the way in an older generation kind of saying, look, I understand the role medicine plays in my vitality, the way it influences the medicines I take. So I think you're going to have both a younger generation and an older equally enthusiastic about this movement.
Absolutely.
You know, there's 50,000 farmers markets all over the U.S., and they're from like New York to Maine, all over. So it's popping up everywhere. It's not going to stop. You know, nobody wants to go to a store anymore and buy a waxed apple. You know, they want to be there in the environment with their families on a nice day, and it's just that it's the trend. It's the new thing, and that's what's going to be going on for years. They used to do it back in the days, and it's all coming back again now. So it's going to stick around for a long time, for sure. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Alrighty, guys, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, AJ.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks. School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. HSF.net.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play or even what you wear. You just need to be there. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at CSUN On Point. Sunday mornings, you can watch us on LA's Channel 36 at 11:30. And you can listen on KCSN 88.5 FM at 5:30. That's also on Sunday mornings. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Evan Mederos.